Hello and welcome to this video about how to make jigs. Yes, it's not just about how to make jigs though. It is about the jigs I'm going to be using this season and some new molds I've got. The molds that I used in this video will be linked in the description, and they are supplied by a Greek company called Fishing Molds. Nikos, if you're watching, thank you very much. So I'll just start at the beginning kind of. At the beginning of this season, if you're following the channel, you probably saw some new jigs, and this is some of them. It is those ones there that I don't have my hand over, right? That is a 80 gram. This is 100 gram, right? At the beginning of the season, before I went to the Canary Islands, I stumbled across some fast jig molds on Etsy, if that's how you say it anyway. I quickly snapped them up. They weren't that expensive for what they are. They're CNC machined, very nice job indeed, and I have them right here. There we go. That's the inside of them there. Very clean, very nice. Nice and thick, won't warp when you pour into them. I was very happy with them in the Canary Islands, and they caught some great fish for me there. The fishing for lures wasn't that great though, but you know, that's fishing, that's the way it goes. Before I came back, I wrote to Nikos on Instagram and I got a hold of him, and I asked him would it be possible if he would add to what I already have. I have a complete set of slow pitch jigs ranging from 100 to 40 grams. I needed the fast jigs or speed jigs to reflect that as well. So now I actually have it. I contacted Nikos and I asked him would he make it for me, and this is it here. Yes, 60 and 40, beautiful job. Twins to the other ones, just fantastic. And I'm going to pour some of these in this video. A lot of people have asked, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to run you through what equipment I have cobbled together to make this happen for me. I move around a lot. The stuff I use needs to be kind of portable. But before that happens, I want to say, right, I am working with Nikos and Fishing Molds, and they have supplied these for me for the video. If you want to get these, for sure they have the 180 gram molds. And I'm pretty sure now he's written the program for this 60 and 40, that if enough people get in contact with them, he'll rattle a few off and post them right out to you. It didn't take him but a few days to get it done for me after I asked. If you contact him, his details are linked in the description, okay? He also makes the tails as well, the wires for inside. I make my own, so let's get on with it. I'll just run you through the boiler and all that kind of stuff and some safety equipment, and then we'll get going. And I'll give you a better look at the jigs as well. But before I do that, I'll just show you some of the... This is one of the 40 grams here. Really nice, right? Fantastic. This one's luminous and fluorescent. Fantastic. Of course, they don't come out of the mold like that, right? So let's get going. So first of all, some safety equipment. Safety first, as they say. So without a doubt, a pair of glasses, right? And I believe that this is really important, and this is something you're going to have to look into a bit yourselves. This is a mask, but it's not any old mask. The filters are for lead fumes, right? Not lead dust, lead fumes. So whatever's coming off the boiler, this will filter it out for you. You need to contact somebody in a hardware store, get their advice so they can select what you need, right? I'm no expert in this stuff, I got help with it. And you're going to have to do the same thing, okay? So last but not least, a pair of gloves. They allow you to manipulate things with them on. They're not that great, but they're better than most work gloves I've used. These are rated up to 300 degrees or something like that. So you can actually hold the mold for a short period of time before it starts to cook your fingers. It doesn't take long though. You have to work fast, right? So that's the safety equipment covered. Now, just a few pieces that are going to make your life much easier. A lot of people, when they're holding the molds, I've seen people, they just put a brick each side. Yeah, you can do that, but it's a little bit awkward, shall we say. So instead of that, I use these kind of welding clamps here. I don't know if they are for welding, probably not. They're just clamps anyway. They had a piece of plastic on the front to stop them from damaging whatever it was that they were holding, and I just took that off. They work fantastically for all molds, right? Fantastic. Quick and easy to remove. The last part is obviously arguably the most important, is how do you cook the lead? Well, you can do this in many different ways, and other people probably would go another way than I have, but what I have here packs up and it's portable, and also it's quick as well. This is something that I enjoy. I like to get that lead melted quickly. So I'm going to start with the heat source first of all. I have no idea what these are. I call them plumber's torches. You can weld a little bit with them, and they're great for melting lead as well. Works really quickly, but the only drawback is, the ones I have anyway, I'm not sure about them all, these are the only ones I've ever used, they have to be standing pretty much vertical, or at least at that kind of angle, otherwise they start spewing flames everywhere and they don't cook the lead properly. So I have created something to help me with this. And it is this contraption, shall we say. It's an old Bailey's tin, right? And it has a piece out of a coffee pot in the top, right? And you can fill, the bottom comes off this, you can fill it with sand or lead or whatever you want. Today I'm just going to support it with bricks so it doesn't fall over and burn the head off me, right? It is very stable and it is not dangerous, okay? Last but not least, the melting pot. A lot of people would have a bigger vat and they would dip something like this into it, but that's not possible for me because I'm always on the move. So I just cook it up in that. This will hold about 1 kilo of lead. But if you're static and you have all your gear in one place all the time, just get a camping gas cooker, a pot, and something like this. You can actually buy all this stuff online if that's the way you want to go with it. I like to find stuff cheap or secondhand or free, right? Or made out of junk. I like to upcycle most of the stuff that I have. It just saves money and saves the planet. So let's get going. I have 2 of these, right? You need to heat the mold as well. So you're going to need 2, or you're going to need 1 at least anyway, whether you've got a cooker or not. So I just gone with 2 of those. It saves me a lot of bother. A couple of weeks ago I did a video about some sinkers that I was making for the Arctic, and here are a few of them. They're all finished now. These are a better job than the ones in the video. If you want to know how to do that, I'll link that video in the description as well. These are going to be my halibut sinkers, for the want of anything else to call them. Halibut sinkers, that's what they are. Fantastic. So, shore jigging. You need an accompaniment of jigs, in my opinion. And sure, you can buy them yourself, but I like my equipment to be standardized, right? So when I go to fish, I know what I have and what it does and what it will always do. So I've created my own line of jigs. So I'm going to show them to you now, right? These are some of my slow jigs. So we got 100 gram there. That's them there. And we got some smaller 40s and 60s and 80s, right? That's them there, right? And here are my speed jigs, right? The bottom deck is all 40s, and we got some 60s and 80s and 100s. This is from last season, this one here. And so they are my jigs for forever now. That's it. That's all I need as far as slow jigs and fast jigs. Of course I have others for soft plastics and that kind of thing, but that's not what this video is. Whether you're making fast jigs, slow jigs, sinkers, or even jig heads for soft plastics, this process is the same, always, right? That's it. So in a little while, the lead is going to be melted. It's not going to take very long to do this video at all. If you've watched this video and you want to know how to paint these beauties like this, and put the foil on them, which is called hot stamping. The video encompasses the foil, the painting, and the coating, epoxy and stuff like that. So I linked that video in the description as well. But I have made it so easy that anybody can do this at home without any specialist equipment at all, right? So here are the tail wires that I have made, right? I have put them inside this mold already. The lead is almost ready to go. So I'm going to start preheating the mold there, okay? I'm going to forego the mask just for this, but I got the glasses and I got the gloves, right? Let's switch it over. Or the last one. Oops. So now you just let that cool. I will say one very important thing. If there's any moisture present, what you're using to cook the lead in or the lead itself, it will explode and take your face off. So it's very important that everything's dry and has no water in it. It's very important. Okay. So if you haven't tried this before, this is a little safety tip. Everything stays really hot for a long time, like up to 20 minutes. You can still burn yourself on the moulds or on the jigs themselves. And it's best just to let them sit in the moulds for a while. Just let them harden properly. I have turned off the boiler and everything else because I'm making a video here. And when I stop this video, I'm going to put on all the safety equipment and I'm going to go to work and start pumping these things out for the rest of the season. So here are the tail wires that I make for it. You can either buy these or you can make them yourself. That's up to you. Anything I can make myself, I will, providing it's not really time consuming. But sometimes it's just necessary. For me, for shore jigs, this is something that manufacturers don't really take into account. They just produce this stuff for boats and they don't really care about the shore angler, but they don't last all that long from the shore because they bend and then the coating comes off them and all the rest of it. So I like to make my own extra thick, extra stiff. These are hardened wire loops and they go through all the way through the jig, and this will help them last longer because they won't bend as much and the coating won't come off as quickly. Let me just say, these things have a hard life. So if you get 2 or 3 sessions out of a jig, you're doing pretty well if you're fishing around rocks and stuff like that. Off a beach you can have one for much longer, right? It's quite remarkable what you can produce at home by yourself, right? It's amazing, it really is. Like, all of this stuff here is homemade. You think you buy it in a shop. No, you can just make this stuff at home. Just here on this table there's about, I would say roughly about 200 euros worth of jigs, and it cost me hardly anything to make them myself. If you spend just a few days doing this, you can have jigs for the rest of the year, or maybe possibly even for the next couple of years. For me, I have to do this twice a season or so. So a lot of people have been asking, will I sell these jigs? Am I going to sell them? And my answer has been no, because I need what I make, right? But this season I'm going to make over 200 jigs, and at the end of the season, if I have any left over, I'm going to do something special. I'm going to put them onto eBay and auction them off, right? Or I might even put a fixed price on it. I don't know yet. We'll have to see about that. But my plan is just to auction off 2 sets of these. A full set of slow jigs and a full set of speed jigs, or fast jigs if you like. As you can see, I've been toiling furiously. Furiously toiling. You're going to see these in upcoming videos for the rest of the season. Right, fantastic. I got luminous ones, fluorescent ones, fluorescent and luminous, you name it, it's in there, right? Beautiful. So it's about time to take these guys out of the mold, see if they cast properly. Did I heat the mold up properly? Sometimes I screw it, you never know. As I said, everything is still very hot, even though it's been like, I don't know, over 5 minutes. So there we have them. Yes. Just to disclose, this isn't actually the 60 and 40 gram. I didn't have any tail wires made for that. This is the 80 and the 100 gram. But it's exactly the same. Apart from the weight, the design is the same. So that's them there. Now they are all ready to paint except for this, which I'm just going to cut off. This little piece here, I just cut it as close as I can without damaging the jig, and then I file it down a little bit. It's not 100% necessary, but if you're thinking about selling them and stuff, it is something you need to pay attention to. And the eagle-eyed viewer amongst you will see that there is pore marks in this. In the jig making industry, they go to a lot of trouble to avoid this happening, okay? Because it adds labor to the whole process, right? So they have centrifugal molds that are heated. They actually spin and are heated so that you don't get any of this layering and stuff like that. And they can proceed just straight away with the coating, like the foil, and then the painting and all the rest of it. It just speeds up the whole process immensely. In Asia, this kind of thing is a backyard industry for a lot of people. It's how they earn some of their income. They'll sand them down and then they'll paint them and that kind of thing. You'll see all of this in the video about how to finish these jigs off. So what I like to do, just to avoid all of that, is just dip them in epoxy first of all. And this just fills all those cracks and smoothens them off, so you can go straight to foil or straight to paint after that. If you don't do that, you're going to end up with some fairly untidy looking jigs. Possibly the foil won't stick very well. So it is a necessary part of it, and it does add some time to the whole process. So one of the questions asked in the comments of the finished video for the jigs was, where can I get some lead? Well, that's a tough one. Depends where you are. But here in Europe, it's getting harder and harder and harder to get your hands on. So depending on where I am, I just look on the internet. People selling secondhand stuff is what I'm talking about. And just go in there. That's where I find it most of the time. Scrapyards is also a good place to look for them. A lot of the old wheel weights as well. You can ask at tire centres as well. Some of those guys will just give you that for free. But then you have to deal with the stuff inside them. But you know, if it's free, you're not complaining too much. It's just extra labour. It's better than buying it anyway. There is one tip I'm going to give people if you're looking for moulds in general. If you look at these jigs, there is no eyes, there's no gills. They're just flat, featureless moulds, and they are the easiest ones to work with, right? The other ones, they are an absolute pain, right? The foil won't stick to them. They're hard to paint, and they often don't fish that well either. So when I'm buying moulds, I look for them without any of that. Like for instance, the eyes and everything else are stickers, right? And that is the easiest, quickest, cheapest way to go, okay? Is the sticker eyes, right? And they go underneath the epoxy, so they're held on there pretty much indefinitely until they get scraped off in a rock. The plastic eyes that you stick onto them in the little crevices that are sometimes incorporated into the mold fall out, right? They just cause you problems. Really hard to print on, really hard to paint. So that's my tip. Go for molds without any of that on it, right? Make your life so much easier, and it makes the whole process much quicker as well. So that's it. If you want to buy some jig molds from the guys at Fishing Molds, the link is in the description. I can highly recommend them. Extremely well made, not highly priced. So I hope you find this useful, and I hope it saves you some money, and I hope it catches you some fish. Wherever you are in the world, remember, I see you on the beach. Bye.